Hello everyone, and welcome to the return of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about Jedi Summer with the Magnetic Kid by John Boden. This is from Postmortem Press, and it has a foreword by James Newman. See that right there. It's a fun cover. It's got Jenny's phone number there and some scratch and sniff stickers. Do not scratch your book. They're not real stickers. Don't scratch the cover of your book. You're not going to smell anything but book cover. So anyway, Jedi Summer with the Magnetic Kid. It's a little tiny book, and it's a coming-of-age story. And right off the bat, when I read the back cover copy of the book, and I said, oh, coming-of-age story, what is it about horror writers or writers of dark fiction and fans of horror and dark fiction? What is it about the coming-of-age story that attracts writers and fans of horror and dark fiction? There are so many coming-of-age stories. You have The Body, also known as Stand By Me by Stephen King, Boy's Life by Robert McCammon, Ghoul by Brian Keene, Children of the Dark by Jonathan Janz, and there's even one by James Newman there, Mr. Forward Writer himself. And I don't have an answer, but I thought it was interesting that as soon as I opened the book, the very first thing James Newman mentions in his foreword is the attraction that writers and fans of dark fiction have for the coming-of-age story. And so that's something that he discusses right there in his foreword. So anyway, this book takes place right there, 1983. And it's essentially about two kids. You have John, the narrator, who's, I think, 13, and his younger brother, Roscoe. And it's the summer that they're waiting to see Return of the Jedi. They live in a small town, and so once the movie's released, they're still going to have to wait a month or so before it gets to their town. And the story is not straightforward. It's more a series of vignettes of things that take place throughout the summer. It's not a straight narrative thread so much. I mean, it doesn't jump around. It's chronological in its vignetteness, but there's no. I mean, the central plot, for lack of a better term, is that they're waiting to see Return of the Jedi. So it's not your typical just straightforward narrative, and it works. It's in first person. John is telling the story, and apparently. There's quite a bit of autobiography in this story. Some of the things that happen here apparently actually happened to the author John Boden. And then there are certain things that are made up, I would assume, because there are some very weird, creepy, freaky, odd things that happen during this summer. I'm assuming those are the made up parts. Who knows? Maybe some weird, freaky, creepy, odd things happened to John Boden when he was a kid. But they are definitely bizarre and chilling things that go on within all these other things. Typical young kid summer out of school shenanigans. And this book is incredibly well written. The narrative voice is incredibly strong, and the fact that it's a series of vignettes allows, I think, for the reminiscing of the narrator. There are things that happen during the Jedi Summer that trigger memories of other things, because this is being told, the story is being told by an adult. I mean, the whole fictional, autobiographical, weird thing kind of throws off. You know, it's John Boden wrote the story, but is it really John Boden telling the story? Parts of it, yes. Parts of it, no. It's not as confusing as I'm making it sound. It's just makes it difficult for me to say what's what, I guess. But anyway, so some of the things that happen in the story trigger reminiscences of the narrator, and so it happened in the summer of '83, but then he'll talk a little bit about something that happened after that, but it's all connected, and it's very heartfelt. There are moments that are heartwarming, there are moments that are heart-wrenching, and I would say something else with heart in it if I could think of it, but I can't, so we'll go with heartwarming and heart-wrenching. And heart creeping? No, that doesn't work. But again, don't forget, lots of cool, creepy things in here. It's a very Bradbury-esque story, I felt. I definitely, while reading this, Ray Bradbury came to mind. Even a little bit of Matheson with that creepiness mixed in. Not that Bradbury couldn't be creepy, but Matheson always comes to mind for me. Just another master storyteller. And I would put this up there with Bradbury and Matheson and even McCammon and King. It is such a well-told, solid piece of fiction. Again, I got to go with the air quotes. As someone who was once a 13-year-old boy, and I was a little bit older in '83, but probably around the right age when Empire Strikes Back came out. I understand the anticipation for these movies, and I understand just being a kid and having your summers free to do whatever you want. I understand having younger siblings and the trials, the horrible trials, at least that's the way they seem when you're a kid, that having younger siblings can bring, and the fact that you can care for them and just find them distasteful at the same time, for lack of a better term. They just feel like they're always hanging around. And that's all in here. I don't think you have to be male to enjoy this or to get that same feeling, because I think generally speaking, when you're a kid, these kinds of things are universal. The freedom of the summer, if you've had siblings, whether you're a boy or a girl, whether they're a boy or a girl, I think you're going to have felt the same kinds of things. And it all kind of came rushing back when I was reading this. And that's powerful. That's a powerful use of words to make you feel something like that. And mixed in with that, again, that creepiness, these weird things that happen. And so it all just kind of comes together in this wonderful piece of fiction. Really just a well-told snapshot of small-town, early teenage life, from a lower economic level. I do think that I probably the characters in this story probably raised with slightly less financial security than I had when I was a kid. And well, I would say, it's two kids and just their mother, which for me, it was 4 kids and just our mother, but I was older at that point when my father died. So again, things a little different. And I was 15. This kid is 13 in the book, but I don't remember if it says exactly when. It was just him and his brother and his mom, how old he was. But even those 2 years between 13 and 15, I think, can make a difference on how you see things. Anyway, the point is, despite the differences between myself and the narrator of this story, I feel a lot of connection. I think a lot of readers are going to feel that. Again, male or female, it's going to bring back a lot of memories. And even if that's not what you're looking for, it's still an entertaining, well-told, wonderful piece of fiction with that creepiness thrown in, man. It'll give you chills. So it's difficult to describe. It's two kids in the summer doing things, which doesn't sound like the greatest thing. I can't talk about. There's no central mystery to talk about, which seems to be the case in a lot of coming of age stories. There's usually seems to be some sort of mystery. There's somebody's been murdered or something happened, and that's what drives the story forward. And here it's just a simple tale of two teens. So well told. So we'll jump into the rating, which it shouldn't surprise you that I'm giving it 5 out of 5. What it gets is cigar boxes. 5 out of 5 cigar boxes. If you want to know why it's cigar boxes, you're going to have to read the book. What is the significance of the cigar boxes? What's in the cigar boxes? Read it to find out. Although in the book it's just one cigar box. But 5 out of 5 for the rating. Cigar boxes, 5 out of 5 for Jedi Summer with the Magnetic Kid by John Boden. Such a great story. I definitely am going to come back to this and read it again, probably multiple times. It's fast. It's under 100 pages, but it's going to stick with you. I think I know it's sticking with me. I think it's going to stick with you as well. So, Jedi Summer. I will have 1 or 2 links for this in the description below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. If you want to tell me your theory on why writers and fans of horror fiction and dark fiction seem to be drawn to coming-of-age stories, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Let me know if you agree with James Newman, what he has to say about it. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I guess that's it. So this has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith. And until next time, read more books.